welcome back to Talks in the Mirror with me by Michelle Marie. Happy Monday. I hope that you all had a positive and productive week, and I hope this week is positive and productive for you as well. We are continuing on with our mini series, Dear Black Man. So today we have a very special guest. I feel like he's very impactful and influential in his community, especially for his age and his generation. I feel like he's bringing a lot of knowledge and healthy ways of living to his community. So, without further ado, we will be bringing him on and I will let him introduce himself and kind of tell you what he does and where you can get his products and where you can follow him. And you can come on.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm grateful to be able to talk on the Talks in the Mirror studio podcast, whatever it's called, So, yeah, I am very into the healthy lifestyle and mindful living as of, the past 2, 3 years now. Been really delving deep into how I can bring the wisdom that I come across to the community and, just being able to talk to people in real time and seeing what's going on. There's a lot going on in the world, and, it's best
Yeah.
if we can get ourselves together because there's a lot of people that can benefit from what we talk about.
Definitely, definitely. So, first of all, how old are you? What's your nationality? And where are you from?
Okay, so I'm 25 years old. I'm from South India. That's where I was born, but my whole life I've been living in Georgia. I'm not going to say Atlanta. I'm like more towards Gwinnett. However, when I'm talking internationally and stuff like that, I just say Atlanta because nobody knows what Gwinnett is.
Right. So what made you get into the healthy living and healthy lifestyle, and exactly what is it that you do to bring health within the community?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was not the healthiest person just because, just I'm in the United States, just an average kid. Um, yeah, I was overweight for most of my life and
Really? I wouldn't have never known that.
yeah, I was actually obese
Really?
for yeah, I was obese
If
for
you all seen him, I want you all to follow him because we're going to add his X in where you can follow him at, and I want you all to go look at his pictures now. He does not look like he was obese at all. That is so funny.
Yeah, I was obese towards my younger ages, and then I would say I transitioned more to overweight, like, towards the end of high school.
Okay.
I was sent to live with my grandparents in South India around the age of 12. I think that's seventh grade, and I stayed
How
there
was
for
that
like,
experience?
oh, that experience was mind blowing because listen, me living in the United States, you know, my whole life and then going there without knowing that I was gonna live there,
Right.
I was like, "Dang, that's
I'm sure
pretty
that was like a huge
shocking."
culture shock, like just going from the United States, even though you're from there, like you living in the United States as a kid and you getting sent back there to live there, like I'm sure there was like a huge culture shock.
Oh, yeah, it was a culture shock just because the fact that, I didn't really know I was gonna live there, my parents had certain things that they had to, go through and deal with, and they had sent me and my brothers there, and, yeah, before that, I was, kinda big, and then I say because of that change of culture, change of, dynamic and, understanding food and the
Right.
ecosystem, all that, really kinda changed how I saw, life. So I kinda changed my diet towards the end of the trip, which was actually a stay. So and I came back and I started, continuing that momentum. I kind of, went had ups and downs, came back, gained some weight back, lost some weight, gained some weight back. I transformed into like 4 or 5 different body shapes before I came into what I am right now.
Yeah. Wow. So it's true that America is just very unhealthy. That's just true.
Well, I would say it's because of how it's set up, how the food system is set up and how
Yeah.
things are marketed and, advertised, and, I feel like we don't have a good basic structure of understanding the importance of the relationship with food.
Yeah.
It's it's, there's a lot of people out here talking about nutrition. I'm not saying that all Americans are big, but it's just a majority. And, compared to the other parts of the world, there's a lot of people that don't have access to, foods that gonna really, get them big like that. They're just eating locally and stuff like that. So now it's changed, where I'm from in South India, there used to never be a KFC. There's a KFC, there's a Domino's, there's
Wow.
donut shops, all this type of stuff has been introduced because, foreigners are moving all over the world,
Yeah.
moving, learning the systems, learning how United States work, bringing back businesses.
Taking
So,
their Americanized ways to these countries and just tainting them as we do.
yeah, but
As we do. So, exactly what is it that you do? Like, what is it? Like, what ways do you practice health? Like, is that your new business now? Like, what is it that what is it that you're bringing to the community now?
yeah, so I am a farmer, I'm a yogi, I am also
So you
just
have to tell people what yogi is for those that don't know. Because
that's true.
I don't think I even know the details of that.
So a yogi is basically someone who experiences life in the most simplest form. And
Mm,
I believe that we are all yogis. I don't believe in titles. You can call me a yogi or not, but I do believe that every single person has the ability to experience life if they just, understand the simple basics. And that's basically what a yogi is. It's nothing more than that. So that's pretty much what that is. So moving forward with what I do, I actually, since I have my own experience with food and nutrition, I've transitioned between different type of structures of eating and now more on a whole foods, plant-based type of eating structure, and that's what works for me.
yeah.
And I always tell people, you want to understand your body and how it makes you feel. So I pretty much teach about the connection between food, soil, and the body and the mind in that type of way. And as a business, I create food and juices for events, get-togethers. You can order it directly from me. I have nutritional products. I also do farming, garden consultations to teach you all about the soil, how to create a native garden, how to have your own food in your own backyard, even if you have an apartment, how to grow food in pots.
Okay. I might need you to help me. I just got into that. I'm growing my own food. I'm doing that myself. So I might need to get some of your tips.
Yeah, it's important, I feel that in today's day and age that food sovereignty is kind of not seen as an important thing, because food is so accessible in this country.
Yeah.
How However, if we have even 1% of our food being grown by ourselves or, grown by a neighbor or somebody local, we just know exactly what's in it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, that's basically what I do.
Okay, okay. I remember you was selling the moss at one time. Do you still do that?
Yeah, that's part of the nutrition thing, that's
Okay.
one of the products, sea moss, it has a lot of health benefits. It's on the coastal regions. That's where the moss grows and coral reefs and stuff like that. Good stuff. So,
Okay. So how do you feel like just being healthy ties into like mental and what's the other word I'm looking for? Well, how do you feel like health ties into mental health?
so nothing is really separate. Everything ties into each other. Your health from just your sleep to how you eat to what you say to how you think. They're all interconnected because we're a combined operating system, like a computer operating system. We're the
Yeah.
operating system from God. So we have a lot of abilities to understand our own nature. And that's what food really is. Food is energy, and
Yeah.
food can really teach us, new ways of discipline. And not only that, agriculture in general, there's so many products that can be made, sustainable products that can be made from agriculture and stuff like that. But we want to understand that things start from the soil and it ends in the soil, right?
Yeah.
So that cycle is in the food as well. We eat something and we have to poop it out, and we have to be born and we have to die. and we have to go to sleep and we have to wake up. These are all cycles that deal with our life. So our relationship to how we eat food really ties into how we live our life.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. And there, I feel like there's a lot of systematic things that causes a lack of health. And especially the brown communities, just different things that have caused and distracted us, different things that have been implemented in our communities to cause unhealthy lifestyles. Just the fact that the price, like trying to eat healthy, costs more than eating unhealthy. Like you can go get a whole meal for $5, but take going to get a salad, just a regular salad's like $10. So I feel like, different things like that, just the lack of resources and finances can also be a big thing dealing with that. But like you said, that's why it's good to grow your own food because that way you have more access to it. I feel like I see that a lot with people. Just saying, oh, it costs so much to be healthy. And I feel like that's also a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I want to add to that is the simplicity.
So, what do you see in your generation? Like, what do you see a difference in the way they are trying? Do you feel like they're more aware of being healthy, or do you see a difference in the different generations?
So, it's kind of half and half. Well, I can't give it a percentage, but the older generation understands before a lot of these corporate industries started really being into play. Like where I'm from, my grandparents and my mother and my father, they seen before all these accessible foods and, packaged goods and all these things. They had to experience the local food, what they were able to get, the jackfruit and the bananas and what's it called, the onions that grow in the back and stuff like that, So they
Right.
had to understand that, but it also is a regional thing, I'm South
Yeah.
Indian. We're closer to the tropics. A lot of things grow there. In the United States, a lot of things grow here as well. But I feel like this country is set up more on a business infrastructure than uh,
Definitely.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah, cause even I mean, I found it where people say like I've met people like from the islands and different things like that, and they literally say like when they go back home, like here if they eat an apple or banana, they're allergic to it. Like it's a different taste. It's more acidic or it's something with it. And they go back home, it tastes more natural. Like it's just natural soils here. So I feel like even the soils and the even the fruits and vegetables here are tainted, because the soil is tainted.
mhm.
So I hear that a lot. People say, "Oh, I go back home and everything just tastes so much fresh. It's so different." Even when I went out the country, like the food and the fruits and everything just tastes different. Even in Florida, people that grow their things there, like it's just everything just tastes a little different. That I've found when you go in the store and buy things, or if you just go out the country, it's a different taste in the fruits and vegetables. It really is.
Yep, no, and the rules and regulations that are in place in this country is a little different too. There's so many rules and regulations to do even organic gardening, organic farming. There's they're always, bringing about these rules and regulations, but in reality, there are no rules and regulations to grow some food. You just put a seed in the ground and it grows, and that's it. You don't need to really add too many things to it. There's no real regulations. And I feel like we've complicated a lot of things that don't need to be complicated.
Yeah.
Going back to your question about how I feel about my generation is there's a lot of access to information. There's a lot of access to knowledge, in the day and age of even AI, we have more
Yeah.
access to understand anything that we ever wanted to. So when it comes to nutrition, there are enough and more resources and access to the information how to get healthy, way more than our parents did. However, I feel like there's a lot of distractions in place as well,
Yeah.
way more than it ever used to be too. So it's an ongoing
Battle.
battle there, and the main thing is giving the youth, giving my generation and younger the ability to have more access to this type of information on a more organic level, not so technological. I use technology, I love it to be able to get outreach, but when you there's something about it when you come in person to a local garden or a local person, or even asking your neighbors, how to do things, that's the knowledge that needs to be, continued. And the previous generation is able to assist in that too. So
Yeah.
like I said, there aren't any differences in generations really, because humanity in general, we all have the capability to help each other, and that's the basics principle, helping each other out to get new understanding.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Everybody can learn something from somebody. So that's definitely true. It's just coming together collectively and bringing our different ideals and different things that we learn and knowledge together to help build each other instead of tear each other down.
Yeah. And in today's world, we have to put it in a way that is approachable, relatable,
Yeah.
accessible, and I ain't gonna lie, it has to be attracting, because
Yeah, definitely.
I ain't gonna lie, nobody trying to hear a whole bunch of yapping, So sometimes it has to be in the form of music, sometimes it has to be in the form of a movie, Netflix
Yeah,
show, whatever it is, something where today's kids are like, "Oh, that's cool. I wanna see what's up with that."
definitely. So what kind of ways, what do you think that it is that you want to see and what is that you want to bring to the community, just bringing building wealth in the black and brown community? What is it that you would like to see change and what is it that you want to bring?
So when I think of community, I really do believe that community involves all people. But in our brown and black communities, we've been put in a category. We feel like we've been put in a category that is separate and that we don't have the same abilities because of systematic oppression and this, that, and the third. So many different things I'm not gonna get into.
Right.
But what I am just showing people is the simplicity of understanding your own life.
All right.
And if you can just be more peaceful within yourself, things will start moving. There's so many activists and motives and organizations and groups, they're doing great things, but you have to understand that any basis, any team, any group, it starts with the individual, and these individuals, they don't know how to deal with themselves.
Hmm.
So if you can understand how to deal with yourself, you know how to deal with others on a larger scale.
Right.
That's the life of and teachings of any yogi. Even my teacher even told me that, Ronnie, just keep it simple. That's all it is. Just keep it simple and understand that most people, they're not gonna know everything and they don't want to know everything. But if you can just allow them to experience things without telling them too much, then they'll come to their own understanding. And you can do that by lightly giving them understanding on food, lightly giving them understanding on how to deal with getting aggressive, or how to tell them how to, deal with others so they don't get in arguments at the house. Little things like that. And
Right.
one of the biggest things that I do is that I've learned is this healing fire, and it's also a way to clear atmospheric pollution, is this method called Agnihotra, and it's a fire that allows one to clear their mental pollution,
Hmm.
because mental pollution is a direct correlation with atmospheric pollution. We got to realize, if there's pollution on in the air, in the atmosphere that we breathe, there's pollution in our mind and how we
Hmm.
think. So there is a solution to that, and it's very old, and it's non-religious, meaning it doesn't deal with any type of belief system. It's just a universal thing that any person, race, or age can do to assist this atmospheric pollution, and to be able to get more to a more subtle state. And what I mean by subtle state, at a more, you're not all over the place type of state, you're more grounded. So if you can get to that grounded state, a lot of things that you never really saw,
Hmm.
meaning like a lot of things that you thought of, you're going to think of in a different way, because you're more grounded, you're more open, your ears are open, and your mouth is less closed. I mean, it's more closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we teach that, You can follow the Facebook page, Shanti Villa Institute. It's called Shanti Villa Atlanta, and Shanti means peace. So that's what it's all about, just getting that into that state of peace. So, you can actually get things moving in this world, progression.
Okay. Never heard of that. Yeah, I've never depollute yourself. I've never heard that. But that's true. It starts within. You have to kind of, like you said, you have to kind of clean yourself out and clear yourself of just, mental clutter, emotional clutter. It's just a lot of things a lot of trauma that we've dealt with, a lot of baggage that we carry that I think we need to address. And once you address that and deal with that mentally, it helps you spiritually, financially, physically. It just opens up so many other doors because, like you said, it all ties into one. So, yeah. So, before we close out, this is the Dear Black Men series. So, I wanted you to like give a message to Black men in the community and just what they can do to be more impactful in creating health and generational wealth.
Yeah. So first things first is I want y'all to just allow things to happen and be more observant and listen more, especially to the women out there, because there's an imbalance between men and women in this day and age, and the masculine side of us can be overwhelming sometimes. So we want to balance that out with the feminine. So there's a lot of nurturing that you need to do within yourself that we think is too soft, but it's not, it's what's really going to allow, families and, even nurturing your own business and nurturing your own anything, so you want to understand that there's a balance between that and yeah, be more respectful, be more giving, even if you don't have much to give, a little hand will go a long way, That's the power of, giving. The energy comes back in ways you never know.
Yeah.
And as far as wealth, you are the wealth, So just know that, because if all the money systems fall to the ground, it's you.
Yes.
That's all that's left is you. You want to be.
Oh, that is so true. Okay, so before we close out, where can we follow you? Where can we find you? Where can we support you?
So, my Instagram and my TikTok and I believe on Facebook as well is LOVE underscore vision. That's love underscore vision underscore nutrition, and also on YouTube as well. So if you want to contact me through there, you can. I am local in and around Atlanta, Gwinnett, different parts of Georgia. So if you see me, I will be open to talk to you in any way possible. And yeah, you know, you'll be seeing me around if you're in Atlanta.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think this episode is very, very beneficial. I think you said a lot. And like I said, I feel like you can offer a lot, not only to just your community, but to other communities as well. So you all tap in, reach out to him. Like you said, he's open to communicate and help you all, especially when it comes to, just healing yourself and growing and farming. I think a lot of us need to start doing that. But I really appreciate you for taking your time out today to come and speak with us.
But yeah, of course.
A lot. So what I will do is make sure I tag you and at you and put your ex in the description. So it will be in the description on the podcast. So thank you again. And you all have a happy Monday. And thank you again for coming back to Talks in the Mirror with me by Nishan Marie.
All right.
Alrighty.